Old model steamboats in poor condition. Part 19. Making and fitting the piping for the steam, water and gas, which was quite a complicated job, requiring silver soldering, followed by the first steam test to make sure that everything works as it should. It's a bit of a piping extravaganza, so if you don't like piping, I should turn off now, or maybe write in and tell me how to do it. Why have I put a loop on the piece of pipe at the gas canister end? Simply because this piece of pipe at this point gets moved around a bit, as the gas tap is unscrewed and screwed onto the gas canister fairly frequently. No such loop is required at the other end though. This is a straight fitting onto the end of the gas cut-off valve, and it's never really going to get moved about, so there's no need for a loop here. This part of the piping job is fairly tricky, and it gets much worse with the water piping. This copper pipe is 1/8 of an inch in diameter, so it's very easy to bend with your fingers. But the pipe runs still need to look quite neat, and if you bend the pipe in the wrong place and then straighten it again, it's going to start looking a bit messy. If you do mess up, just discard the pipe, it'll come in useful for something else later on. After the piping was fitted to the gas canister valve, via the cut-off valve and down to the burner, I thought it was a good idea to test it. The gas cut-off valve works perfectly and there are no leaks. It's a good idea never to leave the gas tap permanently attached to the canister. Always disconnect it after use. It's time now to continue with the water piping. This is a short piece of pipe that goes from the clack valve or check valve to a T-piece. And when it's cleaned up a little bit, it looks like this. It's always a good idea to clean the piping, even though no one can see it, that is not the point. And if you leave any flux residue on the piping, it will turn green and look really horrible. In this clip, I'm fitting a commercial T-piece to the end of the short piece of pipe. There is one minor problem. I do not have any nuts of the right size or the right thread form to fit onto the fittings on the pump. I found one brass nut in a box that fitted, but I would like a matched pair of these type of nuts, so I need to make some. But the easiest way to find out the size of a thread is to put a die on it, and as you can see, this is 1/8 BSP. BSP stands for British Standard Pipe, and I have just one tap which is 3/8 BSP, but this is no good because it sharply tapers at the end, so I just ground it down on the grinding wheel. Then it was quite an easy job in the lathe to make these two brass nuts. Normally 3/8 by 32 or 3/8 BSP is for 1/4 inch pipe, but the pipe I want to use in the boat is 3/16 of an inch in diameter. That's why I'm using these special adapter unions. The outlet pipe from the pump to the T-piece is shown in place in this clip. There isn't much space in this part of the boat, and all the piping has to neatly fit underneath the condenser. Now I need to bend a long length of copper piping to go from here, which is the inlet to the pump, from the tank's water outlet. To bend this pipe, I'm using a combination of a pipe bending tool and my fingers. It took quite a while to get it to exactly the right shape. It's shown in this clip after I silver soldered the unions on the end. And the last piece of pipe, that goes from the T-piece underneath the condenser all the way to the tank's water bypass valve, which is mounted on the bottom of the front of the tank, was even more difficult to bend. The trick is leaving the pipe long enough to accommodate the bends, but not too long that you can't try it in place. Usually I cut the pipes too short and have to make a new one. I got this one right the first time, silver soldered the unions on the end, and now it's time to fit it in place, and it looks like this. These two quite long lengths of copper pipe still need a little bit of tweaking to make them look good. What I'm doing in this clip is filling the water tank, just to make sure it doesn't leak. But it did leak. Into the bottom of the boat went quite a lot of the water, mainly because I'd forgotten to tighten the union. I often forget to tighten the union nuts, and I don't know why, because I'm not entirely stupid. And you know what they say, old musicians never die, they just go out of tune. Using the hand pump, which is very clever on this engine, it's just a large ram in an extension tube mounted on the valve chest of the axle-driven pump. So by moving this ram up and down, it transfers the water from the water tank into the boiler. And the ram has a peg on it which engages a bayonet fitted on top of the tube, so that once you finish pumping the water, you can lock the ram in position. and with the ram securely locked in position, there's no chance of it coming out of the tube when the engine is running and the crankshaft driven pump is working. After a while it dawned on me that it would be a good idea to let the engine pump the water into the boiler. So temporarily I connected an air supply and let the engine do the work. With the water bypass valve on the tank open, the water is returned to the tank. And you can see how much is coming out. When I push the ram as well, you can see that a lot of water comes back to the tank. But there's a good amount coming just from the crankshaft pump, more than enough to top up the boiler as the engine is running. So I think it's time to install the gas tank, and this seems to be quite an easy operation. I've also added some more water to the tank, and now I'm lighting the gas burner. My advice when using gas to fire a boiler is do not turn the heat up too far to start with. Put the heat on low, turn the pressure down. I think it's a good idea to heat the boiler slowly initially, and that puts a good bit less stress on the copper boiler itself. While the boiler is slowly heating up, this is a good time to fill the displacement lubricator and generally lubricate the engine. I'm using steam oil for this job, and I'm filling it right to the top. That way when I put the cap back in, a bit of oil is already pushed into the steam line before the displacement lubricator even starts displacing. This particular type of lubricator has an oil control valve, and I would normally open this one full turn from fully closed. Once the boiler is getting nice and warm and is too hot to the touch, I turn up the heat. Because the gas tank sits in the tank of water, this stops the gas tank from chilling, and the gas pressure remains more or less constant. With a gas tank like this sat on the bench, after a while it chills and the gas pressure drops, and so does the heat. In this clip, using the copper extension pipe on my oil can, I'm oiling the big ends and the trunk guides of the engine. And now, once I open the steam valve, off it goes. Currently there's not much pressure showing on the pressure gauge, and the engine is running quite fast because the boat's on the bench, and there's obviously no load on the propeller like there will be when it's in the water. And now the pressure inside the boiler is really climbing fast. And by looking at the water gauge, as you can clearly see, the water is going even further up the glass. This is a great boiler. With the bypass valve fully closed and water being pumped into the boiler, it's even blowing off. I think it's time to turn the gas down. There's quite a lot of steam coming from the side of the boat and in front of the camera. This is because the condenser is not yet in the boat. I needed to check that the piping wasn't leaking, and with the condenser in there I wouldn't have been able to see it. The good news is the piping isn't leaking, but for the moment there's a silicone rubber pipe taking the exhaust out of the boat into a plastic dish at the side of the bench. This steam test shows me that every part of the boat is working well, and the safety valve extension pipe is blowing off quite nicely, and it's evacuating all the excess pressure from the boiler, so I would say that this steam plant is going to power this boat with ease. I'm curious to see how long the engine will run once the gas is turned off. So I've turned off the gas with the valve on top of the canister, as you've just seen, and now I'm opening the bypass valve to return all the water to the tank. The engine is still running at a good speed despite not having a fire in the boiler. And this is the plastic dish that I mentioned, which is collecting the exhaust steam and the oil residue. It's starting to run down now. The engine's getting a lot slower, but there's hardly any pressure showing on the water gauge. The crankshaft pump continues to pump the water, the bypass valve is fully open, and as you can see it's just been returned to the tank. And that's it for this episode. Thanks for watching, and I hope you found it useful. Please take the time to visit my Mainsteam Models website and click on the section of the website that says Video Playlists. And by doing that, you can find other videos that you may like to watch. And by using the playlists, you can actually watch the videos back to back.